Okay, we're on. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the advertised time and place for the Thursday, January 16th, 2025 Planning Board meeting. I'm going to ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll ask you to remain standing for a quiet moment of reflection for all the folks in California that lost everything and lives and
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you. Okay, we have no public hearings today, so we're going to go right to discussion items. Number one is Prisco's Calverton Acres with Matt Charters.
Good afternoon, Board. I'll invite Charles Cuddy up, the applicant's attorney on this. If everyone recalls, we did have a public hearing at our last planning board meeting for this application. It's a two-lot subdivision in Calverton. The board recalls this is a little wine country deli location, which is on lot one. Justin, if we could go to the eye in the sky, please. With an existing mobile home, and then the back lot, which is lot two, is currently in ag production. There's nursery stock there. I do have a approval resolution prepared for the board today, which was in your packet and was updated. I think everyone got the update, which incorporated Vinnie Gaudiello's comments. This is all related to DOT requirements. If the board also remembers, DOT asked that a common driveway serve both these lots. What I think the DOT is probably after, just because their comments were not very, didn't explain much, but this is the Calverton post office on this property. As you can see, one point of access, curbing, and a sidewalk. That's generally what the DOT will ask for on development projects. So in your packet, Vinnie's comments are pretty explicit what needs to be done. So here, for lots 1 and 2, there'll be a common driveway easement that runs the length of the flagpole.
And the width of that driveway is what, Matt?
So it'll have to meet whatever is necessary for two-way traffic, so that's 24 feet wide generally. I wouldn't have an issue as it's improved, because it's potentially just going back to a single-family residence that it got more narrow, which is fine, but the DOT has very helpful standard sheets that's really plug and play for an engineer and how they need to be designed, what the curb cut width needs to be. In the resolution, these are all, it's covenanted that it has to be a common driveway. There's several map revisions that need to be done, and then the DOT work will need to happen before signature of plans, because that's really our hook for subdivision review. Just the board. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward approval. This application.
Are there going to be curb cuts then?
A single curb cut for both lots, so generally right in this area. Well, can't see my hand.
I can't.
Do we normally do curbs and
It's a
sidewalks during a subdivision process?
So the issue is, this is what the state's requiring. The applicant has, I believe, Tom Wolpert, who's the design professional from Young & Young, is reaching out to the state to see exactly what they want,
Because I believe in the report it said they recommended.
They do. It's their road, though, so I'm gonna stick to whatever what their recommendation is. I'd hate to say, don't do it, and then whatever they do on this property, the state's just gonna make you do it after the fact.
As of now, I don't think we have a mandate from the state. I think we just have a proposal.
It's tough. It's, to an extent, it's lines on a map, but from a planning perspective, we go back to the photo. It's a little bit of a free-for-all. I know it's a small deli, but you've got people backing up into traffic. It's going
So
on.
you say he's going to have to stripe it?
It's going to have to stripe it. It's pretty small, so I think it only generates about 3 parking spaces just because of the size of the deli.
Yeah, I know, but this is a busy place.
But it's busy, so there's people. There's people sort of parked everywhere. As you can see, they're leading into the farm field. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing's really right overhead. Some people do park over here, but this will allow good circulation. If there's a curb, there's enough room to come around and then back out the front. it's it's an expense, but this is unfortunately
So it'd just be a single driveway.
single driveway, yep, shared access for both lots. That's always what the
I
state.
don't,
the state-
I'm just curious how he's gonna be able to lay this parking lot
I know,
out once you
it's
do
tight.
it.
It's gonna be a challenge,
Yeah.
because the way it works now is people go in and out pretty regularly,
Yeah.
without too much problem either.
Yeah,
I know.
But again, we don't know if the state is going to demand that we do it.
Yeah, I mean,
We don't have a problem with the entranceway, I mean, that's not the deal, but the curving,
yeah, we don't know for sure if they're gonna require curbing and sidewalks. They're definitely gonna require a shared access point, but how does that work if you don't have curbs?
Yeah,
If it's not a single curb cut? Because if they're saying, hey, you have a common driveway, but then nothing changes, you're still gonna
It
go
stays
wherever
the
you
same,
want.
yeah.
Yeah,
I just don't know if we
it's tough.
creating a bigger problem by
Yeah, I mean-
doing that.
But this is unfortunately what happens in a land use application when you come in for something like this. You
I concur with that.
You
I
have to
think
do
we're gonna
improvements.
create a much bigger problem there.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, not a buyer beware situation, but when you go to improve you're seeking to do something to your property, and in this case, I mean, there's variance requires, there's a site plan subdivision application that's before us. That's the only hook is making this happen prior to signature, and it's the state's road, it's their right of way, they kind of dictate what goes on. I'm curious to what they say upon further application, if they want to make, have sidewalks and curbs going, and then if they say otherwise, I don't have an issue with the applicant coming back to seek
I
a
see that the
modification.
post office does have,
Yeah, so there's room.
but yet on the west side, there's no curb.
No,
no.
and that's unfortunately that's how the state and even the DOT really operate. It's sort of ad hoc as these sites come in for development or redevelopment, they make you improve. They sort of
Yeah,
pass the
but
buck.
probably normally during site plan process,
Yeah.
not subdivision.
Yeah,
I just am very concerned that we're creating a bigger problem.
understand.
So
It's not lost on me, but it's not really our bailiwick, so to speak.
Post office doesn't receive anywhere near the amount of traffic
Yeah,
that deli
but-
does.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, from a planning perspective, one point of access, way safer and way more controlled than having just a wide open curb cut. I understand it functions properly now, but it takes one person backing into traffic to get T-boned.
Yeah, I understand.
But we're gonna have a congested parking field.
What's that?
I said, I believe, in looking at it, it's gonna be a congested parking field when the state gets through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm even open to, it's hard to say, without really knowing what exactly the state wants you to do. All we have is what their referral comments.
Well, if you said they're recommending it,
Yeah.
it's the same as,
When you look at it, the building is tilted. Even though when you,
Yeah, from the
it's
property
tilted,
line.
so the natural, you see how the cars are parked, they're pulling up what looks like straight, but it's not, it's at an angle. How do you?
It's hard. Even for me, if it was one way in and one way out, it might be a little bit easier, but we'd really have to see from the state. And like I said, if something changes in the interim and they go to DOT and DOT says, nope, there's, other circumstances at play here where this can't work, I don't have an issue with them coming to seek a modification.
Matt?
approval.
Could they make more parking in the back if they wanted to within that?
They could, yeah, it's their whole lot, so they
Right,
could.
so in other words, they do have an option.
They do have an option. Lot one's fairly big. I mean, I understand the mobile home is here, but there's a stone area here. I mean, there's opportunities to adjust and
Right,
create
okay.
adequate, more adequate parking facilities. A little bit of a pickle, but
Yeah, a little bit.
that's sort of where we're at. Anybody else have any other questions?
No, I guess we have a resolution on for tonight, correct?
yeah.
Yes. Sure do. That is it for me. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Cuddy. Okay, let's move on to discussion item number 2, Leo K Group, 522, 526 Pulaski Street with Heather.
So the planning department has received a site plan application seeking approval to legalize some alterations that were made to an existing building and site. The entire site is known as 522 to 526 Pulaski Street. It's on the corner of Pulaski Street and Sweezy Avenue in Polish Town, more particularly identified as Suffolk County Tax Note Number 600-123-4-44.1. It's a little bit of a unique situation in that it's a pre-existing mixed-use parcel, so it's never undergone any sort of formal site plan review. So as the site currently exists, there are two single-family dwellings. So one has access, like a walkway on Sweezy, that's I think 314 Sweezy. Then you have the single-family dwelling, the two-story on the corner of Sweezy and Pulaski, and then attached to that is a commercial building. I think the last known use on file with the building department was a butcher shop. And then the easternmost building is a two-story building with a first-floor office and then two apartments. There are also a couple of outbuildings. There's sort of a dilapidated frame shed and then a frame garage on the property. So, as many of you might be aware already, there was a fire in building 522. So the new owner who purchased the property got a permit to repair some fire damage. Exterior alterations, including some facade work and storefront changes, new siding and roofing were made to 522 Pulaski Street. They also,
Which is 522?
the one all the way
On
to
the
the
corner? The one on the corner?
No, so the two-story building on the eastern portion of the property.
Okay.
I think there was a Western Union in there at one point. So they do need to come in for site plan just to legalize those alterations. They're also proposing, there was an apartment on the first floor of, I think it's 524, that's labeled building number 4 on the site plan. There was an apartment on the first floor. They're actually converting it back to entire retail on the first floor of that building, and that's a permitted use in Village Center. So they're not looking to establish any non-conforming uses. They're looking to continue what's on site and then get a conforming use into building number 4. So that's why they're here for site plan. They did some selective clearing on the property, vegetation removal. They did replant arborvitaes along the property line on Pulaski Street. So they're here today to legalize these alterations and move forward in the process so they can get their proper building permits and COs. As part of the site plan review, this property is not within any parking district. I know that a lot of people park on the road in Polish Town. A lot of people utilize the funeral home parking lot, but they do need to show parking on site. So based on the proposed uses, they are showing 13 stalls where I think they only required to have 11. In that stone blend parking area. There's currently a dirt driveway that comes off of Sweezy Avenue to access the rear of that property. They're showing that as a stone driveway. And I will note that in Village Center, impervious surface coverage is allowed up to 100%, so we're not looking at any sort of variances in terms of that. So just to go through my referrals.
Heather, is there a handicap stall?
Yep, so I'm getting to that. So in my review of the application, they did not show an accessible stall, so they're required to have at least one. So I'm asking that as part of any sort of approval, they have to revise the plans. Amongst other things that they need to change is to put at least one accessible stall, so it'll have to be improved to ADA standards.
Will it be in the back, or is it going to be on Sweezy?
So Sweezy and Pulaski are town roads, and you can't, improve town roads without highway approval, but you also can't utilize on-street parking for your required parking. That's an issue that people run into all the time. And again, this site has never been looked at in terms of any sort of site plan approval because it's all pre-existing. So I guess realistically, they would either have to try to fit one at the end of that stone driveway, or they would have to put it probably like the most proximate stall to the buildings in the stone blend parking area. Obviously, we'll have to work that out with the design professionals, but I didn't designate a location. I want to see where they're going to put it. They'll have to adhere to ADA standards, so 10 by 20 parking stall improved with an 8-foot wide access aisle.
Is there a distance, Heather, that has to be from the buildings?
I don't think there's a distance. It just says, the most proximate to the building entrance.
They could put it closer.
So I mean, they could move it closer if they were to
Right.
site it at the end of that stone driveway. I don't think it would be an issue, but again, I'm thinking that if there's street parking available, and I believe that there's a no parking sign from the edge of Building 4 to the corner of Sweezy, but there is street parking available along where building number 1 is. I'm imagining that if someone's gonna be utilizing one of those commercial uses, they're probably gonna park on the street because it's the closest. However, in terms of site plan, we can't count that towards the required parking. So that, and
Did you hear from the town engineer?
yes, so I did refer it to the town engineer, and he said that I received an email from him. Let's pull it out. He determined that the plan was acceptable, but we, in discussing the stone blend parking area, the only concern that he had was the underlying soils. So that's why, as a condition of the approval resolution, I said, any changes required by the town engineer, any concerns should be addressed. So it might be good for the applicant to provide a soil boring just to see what underlying soils are in that parking area. Because they're showing, the 5-inch stone blend and then the stabilized soil base, but if there's clay underneath that soil base, there's nowhere for the water to percolate. I will note that I couldn't find anything in town code as to when drainage is required, especially in a stone blend parking area, but if the soils don't allow for any drainage to occur, we might want to see like some sort of additional leaching field, even though the stone blend parking area, they'll typically act as a leaching field themselves, but if the underlying soils don't work with that, then you're going to have water pooling. So again, it's an interesting site because it's never been looked at in terms of site plan, and we want to make sure that they're providing parking pursuant to town code, but at the same time, we don't want to create a drainage issue on the site.
Is there any type of rule as to what size gravel that they use? Like, you don't want small gravel
think
that'll
they
wind
use
up out into the street
Either
and then it
millings or
becomes,
crushed concrete, I think most of these are,
they can use crushed concrete?
or millings.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything specific. I'd have to take a look at, road and drainage standards, but I don't think that covers stone blend parking areas.
You just don't want the street
Yeah.
where they're accessing
Yeah.
from all of a sudden becoming littered with, gravel and stone. And
Yeah, I mean, there's an existing sidewalk on Sweezy, so there's a little bit of a transition there, but right now they just have like a dirt
Dirt, right.
driveway that's, it's uneven, so anything to improve that area, I think would be better than what's currently there. And again, they'll be showing the parking that they're required to provide, because even though people park on the street, it's not within a parking district, so being a commercial site, they have to put parking on site.
Heather, the driveway is going to be a stone driveway, and the parking area would also be a stone parking, is that correct?
Yeah, they're calling it out as stone blend.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't know the specific materials that they're gonna use.
What do they want to do with the rest of the area, which is just dirt?
They're not proposing anything else. I mean, in my staff report, I did make a recommendation that they do some additional planting. So they have those arborvitaes planted along Pulaski Street. Since this site does abut strict residential uses, especially by the parking area, I would like to see some additional evergreen plantings, just to create sort of a buffer in between
Right, like we
those
talked about.
properties.
Can we also ask them maybe just put any type of cover crop on that dirt area? Grass seed or something, because it just,
Yeah, I mean, once,
It's
like,
kind of
so
unsightly.
keep in mind the construction was ongoing. Again, they're coming here to legalize what they started without the benefit of site plan approval. So I'd imagine once everything is done, they're not gonna wanna keep dirt there, but I can certainly, add that. So I kept my one condition pretty general. I put additional plantings to the satisfaction of the planning department, so I think I could work in some sort of grass seed or
Right.
something there, just to improve the remainder of the site. And then the other thing, this is a mixed-use site, so they're not served by the carter, the town garbage carter. They're required to have a private carter pick up their garbage. There's no dumpster or trash enclosure location on the site plan, so that's something I already spoke to the applicant's representative about. They're gonna have to show that amongst the other revisions that I'm asking for. and it'll have to be suitably screened. But, you know, you have a mix of residential and commercial here, so we don't want an open dumpster with residential waste in it. At the same time, you know, they might not need a large-scale commercial dumpster on site, but we want it to look nice and orderly, so that's something that they're gonna have to show on the site plan when they revise it.
Does this meet the town's criteria for administrative site plan?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, based on what they did, you know, they did facade work to the one building. They're proposing a switch to retail in the existing building, and they did some plantings and clearing. They're not doing any new building of any sort. It's all existing. Again, it's an interesting parcel.
Yeah.
But a lot of the parcels in Polish Town are like that, so I expect that if we get other projects in the future, especially if we do some sort of corridor study, we want to make sure that everybody's in conformance with town code, that their uses are consistent with what we're looking for in Village Center. So based upon the scope of work that they're proposing, it's definitely, it fits the criteria for administrative review. So no public hearing. They do have to go to the Architectural Review Board. The anticipated meeting date is next Wednesday, Matt, the 22nd? Yeah, so the 22nd. So ARB will review the as-built elevations. So essentially what they did to the building on the western side, they took out the brick facade. I can put this up. You know, they.
Wish we could get them to put the Polish shutters, the decorative shutters in there. That would look nice.
Yeah, we'll see what the ARB comes back with. Again, it's not a significant deviation from what was there. The materials are different, but they didn't add any square footage to the building.
Yeah.
They didn't, you know, significantly change the storefront other than the materials. You know, I think there were 2 windows here and a smaller window up here. They put it into one window opening. So it doesn't change how the site functions. But because they're coming in to legalize that, that's where they have to show their parking. Again, we can't ignore the fact that it's a commercial site and they need to comply with code, so.
So 522 is multi-family, correct?
So it's, there's 522, 524, 526. Those are the buildings that have frontage on Pulaski, and then
understand.
314 Sweezy is in the back.
I understand. But 522 shows multiple gas meters,
Yeah, so it has 2 apartments that were
those
existing.
2 apartments.
2 apartments, and then the commercial is they're calling it an office.
Right.
Like I said, I think it was most recently used for a Western Union in the front. So it makes sense that they would have multiple meters.
No,
there.
I understand that, but my question is, really the other, let's see what that would be. That would be 526. 526 is listed as being 6 bedrooms, correct?
2-story frame house.
Yeah, 6, how many apartments are in there?
It's just a single-family dwelling with 6 bedrooms, so there shouldn't be any separate dwelling units.
What about the requirement for fire escape in that one? We've already had a problem at that address.
I think that had to deal with three-story dwellings. I did refer this to the fire marshal, and he hasn't gotten me any official correspondence yet, but they're not proposing any changes there, and I don't think they met the code changes that occurred, and Eric, maybe you can help me out with this, dealt with third stories?
Yeah, they're pre-existing non-conforming third stories that are under a rental permit.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, they will need to get all of the applicable rental permits for the residential units on the site, so that'll be thoroughly checked for compliance. I just want to see. Their letter pre-existing use, yeah, so unfinished attic and basement. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
attic
I
space is
noticed
not,
that.
doesn't count as a 3rd floor. And then as far as lighting is concerned, they're not proposing anything new, but I am recommending that, or requiring that they submit some documentation just to show that the existing fixtures on the buildings are all dark sky compliant. They appear to be, but I wasn't there late at night, so I'd like to just make sure that they're not causing any light trespass to other properties. Other than that, I mean, you know, we're really waiting on the ARB, and then they have to make some changes pursuant to comments and my recommendations. If the board has any other recommendations, I told the representative for the application I would certainly let them know that they could just do one wholesale revision before signature.
Yeah, and I think we need to see, excuse me, I think we need to see more landscaping on that eastern side, because if you look at the two photos, 23 looks a lot better than 24. And what happened, I mean, you were pretty nice about clearing. It wasn't clearing. They wiped out all of, pretty much all of.
I looked at some of the photos that they had in the real estate listing. This was after the fire had occurred.
Right.
The property was up for sale. A lot of it was overgrown brush, but again, good landscaping, having trees along the eastern and northern property boundaries, particularly evergreens, I think would definitely clean it up a little bit and also allow for some buffering between this and the residential uses, because as you all know, this is how the property is now, but it's village center, so if someone wants to come in with a different use, potentially another commercial use, you want to make sure that you have those established buffers between the residential properties.
Okay, anybody else?
So I have a resolution on to approve with sort of a laundry list of conditions that they'll need to satisfy prior to signature, and other than that, we'll see what the ARB says.
Okay, very good. Discussion item number 3, Waves LLC Medical Offices Site Plan with Greg.
Thank you. So this is just a quick follow-up discussion on the 7 Waves LLC Medical Office Site Plan, which is the last vacant parcel in the Warsaw Park, Commerce Drive subdivision on the north side of 58. I did have a conversation with Richard Israel, the project sponsor. In my staff report, I had initially proposed the sidewalks, and we did have some discussion regarding sidewalks. After discussing it with Mr. Israel, I looked at the existing subdivision, which currently has no sidewalks throughout the entire subdivision, with the exception of the Harley Davidson. Justin, can we just zoom out a little bit? So the entire subdivision, the Commerce Drive Medical Office Park, was all built out. There's no sidewalks anywhere in that subdivision, again, with the exception of the Harley Davidson dealer across the street. All of the street trees that were installed and planted in that subdivision are actually right within the right-of-way where a sidewalk would go. So the realities of installing sidewalks is something that's not necessarily realistic at this point. While it is a good planning tool, creating sidewalks, we'd essentially be creating a sidewalk to nowhere. There's not even a connection, so, understanding that 58 and Commerce Drive is not really heavily pedestrian, there's not a lot of pedestrian foot traffic. The thought that even if an employee in one of the medical offices wanted to walk to Panera to get lunch, there's no sidewalks or any connection to facilitate it anywhere, so.
But this would be like the post office on the, it's just there. Everything else on either side is nothing.
And you see them all the time, the sidewalks to nowhere. It creates a maintenance issue where in the event of a snowstorm, they got to go out and shovel that walkway, which really would serve no purpose. So I didn't want to beat the dead horse with a bush, so to speak. So I'm willing to sort of yield on the sidewalk. However, where I do feel is very our last sort of chance to facilitate any formal future cross-access, I do recommend, and the resolution, the preliminary approval resolution that's before you for this afternoon, requires to show the location of a future cross-access. Could be facilitated here. Now, I do understand that the Warner's Plaza to the west, that location is sort of behind the building. It wouldn't really be known. Again, we would just be requiring a future cross-access. We can't compel that neighboring property owner to come in and push through until such time that they come in for any type of site plan application. That being said, this is kind of the last crack that we have to get any type of cross-access, so it's better than nothing. It would have obviously been more appropriate, at probably the Panera, as it's located more along 58. People are more aware of it. I did have the conversation with Mr. Israel. He will look to facilitate that cross-access at a later date, if it's possible, through the Panera property, which again, that way people shopping in Warner's Plaza, if they're looking to travel east on 58, they can in theory go from Warner's through the Panera.
Does he own the Panera?
Yes.
He does.
Yes, he does. So, again, can't really, that property is not under site plan review, so I have really no method to compel them within the resolution. That being said, Mr. Israel has always
been a man of his word, at least with my dealings, so I'll take his word for it. And I did also, there were some recommendations, the southbound travel lanes coming off of Commerce Drive onto 58. Previously, there were no stripings or no delineations. They worked with the county came in and did the measurements. They did restripe that intersection coming off of Commerce Drive onto 58, so now there are defined lanes of travel, rather than just sort of a free-for-all and like who's turning left, who's turning right, so it just provides a little bit more order there. So do have the preliminary approval resolution on. They've got to get the standard stuff. They need the stormwater pollution prevention plan. They'll need to come in to show the future cross-access. Beyond that, once that stuff's done, we can move on to a final.
So is that conversation that you have with Mr. Israel, is that reflected in your resolution?
So again, the conversation regarding Panera, it's not really, there's no mechanism because this is not in any way
Right.
under the site plan review, so it was really a gentleman's conversation.
All right.
Like I said, I'll take his word for it, he's always done right by us.
Okay.
So I will, again, I do have the language in there about the future cross-access on this piece, just because it is the last shot that we have. It's better than nothing. If nothing ever comes out of it and we have the ability to do it, at least we have something.
Greg, I agree with you. We talked about it. It's actually a better spot for the cross-access. If it's taken in good faith and you trust Mr. Israel, I'm fine with that. I think it's a better place for it, so I think it's the way to go.
All right, everybody good?
Good.
Okay, moving right along. Stay there, Greg, we need you up here again.
Yep.
Number 4, Overlook Homes, major subdivision.
Okay, so, as most of the board will remember, we do have this was the major subdivision of Overlook Homes, which is located on Overlook Drive in Aquabog. The board approved the final plat for the major subdivision back in August of 2021. Since then, the applicant's gotten health department approval, the map has been filed, they've been doing the work. There was the requirement for a performance bond for the roadway improvements within that subdivision. Vinnie Gaudiello did initially prepare that performance bond in the amount of $283,000, which was posted to which was accepted by the town board back in early 2024. The applicant has undergone significant construction on that roadway. Vinnie did a follow-up inspection to gauge the status of that. He did prepare a revised performance security estimate dated January 2nd. It identified the items completed to date as well as the outstanding items, and indicated that performance bond should be reduced to $214,000 from the original $283,000. So we have a resolution to recommend the reduction to that performance bond. That resolution gets transmitted to the town board, and then the town board would authorize a resolution authorizing a refund of a portion of that performance bond. So they're well on their way. That roadway, I know I've gotten a lot of calls from residents down there. They were very, very interested in when the construction was going to start, so he's well on his way.
Okay. Anybody?
Yep.
Good.
All right.
Yep.
Greg, we have item number 5, Calverton Industrial Park LLC for minor subdivision.
Justin, can we zoom out a bit so we can get this whole... Thank you. All right. So this is a follow-up on a minor industrial subdivision out in Calverton. It was originally known as the Calverton Distribution LLC subdivision. It's a 32-acre parcel industrially zoned land on the south side of Middle Country Road. Currently contains the approximately 45,000 square foot Calverton Pods storage warehouse. It's directly adjacent to the Riverhead Charter School. So back in 2019, in October, the planning board approved the 4-lot minor subdivision. Back then, it was zoned industrial A. Since the adoption of that preliminary approval resolution, the town board recently, as a follow-up to the comprehensive plan update, they did rezone this area to Calverton Industrial. It does not change, it did not change the lot sizes or the minimum lot size requirements. So although the zoning district did change, the minimum lot size stayed the same. So all of the lots within this subdivision still meet the minimum dimensional requirements for the new Calverton industrial zone. There were some minor changes to the sizes of the lots within the subdivision. For example, the original map had lot 1 at 6.97 acres. Lot 1 on this map is now 6.1 acres. Lot 2 on the preliminary plat was 6.41 acres. Lot 2 on this map is now 7.3 acres. Lot 3 on the preliminary plat was 6.52 acres. This map shows it now as 5.25 acres. And Lot 4, which is on the south end of the property, which is currently improved with a solar farm, the original map showed it as 12.24 acres, now shown as 13.42 acres. Again, all the lots still comply with the minimum dimensional requirements for the Calverton Industrial Subdivision, the Calverton Industrial Zoning District, and the shifting around of sizes within the subdivision did not change the overall allowable build-out within the subdivision. It just means that you could build a little bit more on Lot 2, but you're getting a little bit less on Lot 3. So the overall total build-out that the board reviewed and did their analysis on, the total build-out didn't change. It just sort of shifts around a little bit of the development within the subdivision. So the initial analysis is consistent with the negative declaration that we issued. The proposed access to the subdivision is going to be along the eastern property boundary. That is going to be a private road. It is not going to be dedicated to the town. It will be developed to the industrial road standards. It will need to be kept clear. Mr. Cuddy did provide some draft language regarding that easement and access. There were some conversations back and forth with the town attorney's office. They made some recommendations just to that language. But that will serve as the access to the rear end of the subdivision. It's presumed that that road would get built out as we get an application. We did have the condition, even though these lots will now no longer front directly on 25, any of these developments on these, either lots 2, 3, or 4, will be referred to the DOT for their review and comment because they are exiting, obviously, onto Middle Country Road. That's it. I mean, they got health.
Going to be storage again?
What's that?
Going to be another storage building?
I don't know if there's, I'm not aware of any particular,
That's what I understand.
I mean, there are a pretty wide range of permitted uses in the Calverton Industrial Zoning District. We now have a use table. So really, any conforming use could come in for a development application. I did speak with a couple of the members regarding future cross-access. Within our subdivision code, there's no requirement for future cross-access when we do a subdivision plat. Future cross-access is something that we could facilitate when any of these lots come in for future development. The thought being that, if there was a way to facilitate a cross-access out to Edwards Avenue, rather than put additional traffic out to Middle Country Road that would make a left onto Edwards, even though that intersection is going to be improved in the near future, it would just be a nice relief valve where if a truck or a car exiting the site has the ability to get out to Edwards. So that's something that we can address when they actually come in for site plan where it is a requirement. Beyond that, they got health department approval. They satisfied all the conditions of that preliminary plat, so we have a resolution on to authorize the approval of the final plat. So they can file it.
Did we get engineering review?
We would have gotten engineering review back when we did this in 2019. This would have been referred to Vinnie Gaudiello at that point, and I mean, we wouldn't have approved it without any type of engineering review, but. I will have to go back and look. I can look through the file again. We're going back to 2019, so I don't have it fresh off the top of my head. But there's no development proposed right now. So as these lots come in for development, we'll obviously get full grading, drainage, engineering plans, engineering comments.
Greg, just the the change in lot sizes, everything's been recorded for the tax map to Suffolk County?
Upon the signature of the final plat, the map will get filed with Suffolk County.
Oh, okay, okay,
It's not filed yet.
okay.
Yeah, this is where we've got a resolution on to approve the final plat. And we have learned just through prior subdivisions in terms of the sequencing of events that needs to happen when easements are filed on subdivisions. Basically, the subdivision map has to get filed, and then the owner can file the covenants on that property, because essentially, the county clerk won't let you file a, declaration or a covenant on a parcel that doesn't exist yet. So there is language in there, and it's gonna be standard language going forward that, we're gonna authorize signature of the map. Upon the signature of the map, it'll be filed with the county clerk. And there's language in here that says will not accept any type of site plan development applications until that language regarding the easement and the covenants is recorded. Just to have a little safeguard that we don't, nothing really gets away from us, again.
So this is the final subdivision, these lots will not be subdividable again, is that accurate?
I mean, they could be subdivided with with a further review from the planning board. Again, if lot 2, which right now is 7.3 acres, if they wanted to come in and split that in two,
They
you'd
can
get
do
two
that?
3.5 acre lots, which,
Okay.
again, wouldn't, if anything, it would probably decrease the amount of allowable, because then you're dealing with additional setbacks. So really, any further subdivision, it's just if they have a smaller tenant, they want to, chop up the lots a little more, they would need to come into the planning board for another subdivision approval.
But if they did that, Greg, you go from a minor to a major subdivision after 4 or after 5, if they,
10.
or what's?
No, so a major subdivision is 5 or more.
All right, so would they have to improve the easement road?
Well,
I'm
so-
just thinking this.
So I mean, I don't want to kind of go back into history, but the way this was done, again, the road itself is going to have to be sufficient with, to facilitate the industrial traffic. But up in the northeast corner of this property is
Right, okay.
there's like a little substation, a little electrical switching
Right,
equipment,
right.
which I'm assuming is the feed from the solar farm, how it ties into the grid. So the location of that, just from the initial planning standpoint, sort of precluded us from designing a fully compliant industrial roadway that would be suitable for dedication to the town, which is why we went through the 55-foot wide access easements.
You guys good?
I'm good. Yep. I think
All right, thanks, Greg.
residential. And
We're gonna move on to
all 5 now?
discussion item number 6, Kathy Lane LLC, major subdivision, formerly known as North Fork Developers. At the end of your presentation, would you be willing to say on the record about the memorial thing? Thank you.
All right, so wrapping up another long-standing application that we've got. This is the final plat for a major residential subdivision known as Kathy Lane LLC, which was formerly Norfolk Developers LLC. This is an approximately 13-acre piece of property which is located east of Rabbit Run at the end of the existing dead end of Kathy Lane. This goes back to the planning board granted the preliminary plat approval back in November of 2021 for a 10-lot major residential subdivision. The original approved yield on this subdivision map was 11 lots. The applicant at that time voluntarily reduced the density to comply with the Long Island Workforce Housing Act, so these will be all market rate. So the preliminary plat included, there was requirements for, there's several temporary grading and drainage easements within the right-of-way. There's a 35-foot, there's an existing drainage swale on the east end of the property. We required language for that drainage swale. And there's also a common driveway easement, which is going to serve lot numbers 3 and 4. So the applicant has prepared those. They've been reviewed by the town attorney's office. The town attorney's office has signed off on them. The applicant did receive approval from the health department back in June. They received approval for their stormwater pollution prevention plan in August of 2023. So we have a resolution on to approve the final plat, subject to the, obviously the filing of the covenants, a performance bond for the roadway improvements, which will be prepared by the board's consulting engineer, the payment of the fee for the Chapter 229 excavation permit, which shows an excavation of approximately 3,799 cubic yards of soil. And there's also park and rec fees in the amount of $5,000 per lot within the subdivision. And again, sequencing in terms of filing those covenants, the map will get filed with the county clerk, and then they can file those easements on that, on the map. Again, I do have language in here that just says no building permit shall issue until those covenants are recorded on the property, again, just as a safeguard. So this gets another application that's been around for a little while, gets it over the finish line, allows for the recording and signature of the map, and we can start building some houses.
Okay, we have a resolution on for a little bit later. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go into public comments now. Ms. Judd, if you would come up and tell us please, tell us what's going on with your project.
Kimberly Judd, 737 Roanoke Avenue. This is not in reference to a project that I'm doing before the planning board. It's just to advise the board that the Suffolk County Historical Society here in Riverhead, known as the museum, they're doing a Grumman exhibit. They've have 2 curators who are going to be working on the project, and they're soliciting artifacts from any former employees, family members. I know there were a lot of engineers, a lot of people in Riverhead that worked there. Riverhead Rotary used to do the barbecue every year. They found quite a few pictures and artifacts and so forth that the museum will be displaying. They will do a exhibit, and the person lending or loaning the artifacts would have to agree to exhibit them for 1 year. And if there's anybody that's interested, please contact me. I would be very happy to help out and put you in touch with Victoria Berger, who is the executive director over at the Historical Society, and she looks forward to exhibiting this.
Yeah, that's great. I'm looking forward to it. When is it going to start? Do you know?
But they don't know yet because we're still putting
Gathering.
it in, but I don't know if the board recalls, Port Jefferson Library did a Grumman exhibit quite a few years ago. So the same 2 individuals who curated that project for Port Jefferson, they're doing it for the Historical Society here in Riverhead.
Okay, keep us informed. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Yes,
Thanks,
please
Ed.
contact me if you know anybody,
Sure.
engineers, employees, people who worked in personnel. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments, anybody else? Okay. Gentlemen, let's move into resolutions.
I'll move resolution 2025-002, Prisco Calverton Acres, the resolution granting minor approval for the subdivision. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zolnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes,
And I vote aye, the motion carries.
I'll move resolution 2025-003, grants administrative approval to Leo K. Group.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zolnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes,
And I vote aye, the motion carries.
I move resolution number 2025-004, Overlook Homes Major Subdivision, Performance Security Reduction, number 1. Resolution recommending a performance security reduction for a major subdivision approved by the planning board by resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zolnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
yes,
And I vote aye, the motion carries.
Resolution 2025-005, Calverton Industrial Park LLC. Resolution granting approval for a final plat for a 4-lot minor subdivision.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zolnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
yes,
And I vote aye, the motion carries.
I'll move resolution 2025-006 for 27 Waves LLC, Granting preliminary approval for the site plan application, so moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Mr. Zanicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
And I vote aye, the motion carries.
I'll move resolution number 2025, resolution number 7, grants approval for the final plat for a 10-lot subdivision for Kathy Lane.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zanicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
And I vote aye, the motion carries. Okay, that's the end of resolutions. We open up to public comments for anybody. Okay. No secret actions today, Greg? All right. Somebody want to move some minutes?
I'll move the minutes of November 21st, 2024, so moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I'll move planning board minutes of December 5th, 2024.
Second.
Before we get going on that,
I'm sorry?
Were we in December 19th? We're doing December 5th.
oh, okay, all right, never mind.
Okay. December 5th. Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Now December 19th.
Now December 19th.
On December 19th.
So December 19th,
Oh,
There
I'll
is,
move
uh,
resolution number.
Hold on
I'll
one
move that
second, Joe.
resolution. What's that?
yeah,
Hold on
so
one
we
second.
just have to correct the minutes because the board voted on one resolution twice.
Yeah, 96.
There was one that should have come off the table, and it did come off the table, but then it wasn't voted on. So we're just gonna make a motion to correct the minutes to reflect that resolution 54 was moved off the table, it was moved and seconded, and then it was voted with approval, instead of voting on 96 twice.
Okay, very good. Thank you for the clarification. Somebody want to move that?
I'll move December 19th minutes as amended.
Second?
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Staff, any other business? I have one little item. I don't want to discuss it today. I just gave copies to the board, and I'll give you guys copies. It's just a minor thing about the dark skies, and I'd like to put it on as an agenda item for the next meeting, Greg.
Ready?
Okay, it's not a biggie. Correspondence, Department of Law, everything's good?
Everything's good.
Okay.
You guys haven't been
Our
sued.
next meeting date is going to be Thursday, February 6th at 6 PM. Anybody want to close the meeting?
Motion to close?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? You can stay here if you're opposed. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Meeting